Are you confident? Do you have consistency? How much conviction do you have? I'm Daniel Gomez, the Confidence Architect, a business strategist, keynote speaker, executive coach, and best-selling author. On the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, we will help you unlock confidence to create consistency and develop conviction. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence. Welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, where we encourage you, educate, inspire you, and motivate you. And I'll tell you what, this guest this week is going to be amazing. I had the time and pleasure with him in Kentucky. I'll tell you what, it was an amazing time over there. He's going to bring some value. He's real, right? He's one of those low-key guys that kind of just stands back and absorbs everything. But I'll tell you what, when you get to know him, he packs a punch because he is an amazing leader, amazing individual. So let's welcome to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, Mr. Jon Blakely. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Man, I'll tell you what, I was looking forward to this episode. Just really had a great time with you in Kentucky, man. And it was an amazing event that we were both at. And just, I liked your vibe, who you were, but I know the amazing leader you are. You have over 100 employees that you oversee there, and you're breaking records all over the place. Introduce yourself to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, if you don't mind, my brother.
Yeah, so I appreciate you having me. Like you said, my name is Jon Blakely. I'm the general manager of Coyle Chevrolet, Buick GMC, and Coyle Nissan in Clarksville, Indiana, which is right on the other side of Louisville, Kentucky. We suffer the natural barrier of the river, and we compete with that every day. But yeah, I've got roughly 150, 175 employees. I've been in the industry for about 10 years, 11 years now. Started off as a salesperson on the floor, and worked my way through the ranks. So I've done a little bit of everything. I love to help people. I love to inspire people. I love to watch people accomplish their goals and the things that they set out, and hold their hand along the way and help them do that. So I'm happy to be here. Glad for you to have me. And yeah, we connected in Kentucky and over here in Louisville at a really good event hosted by Scott Joseph. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Well, you know what? You caught my attention. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what, right now you need to get out your pen, your paper, because something magical happens when you put pen to paper. You retain more information. Your mind, your subconscious mind, when it reads its own handwriting, will remember what you wrote. So get out your pen and paper, because John's going to drop some wisdom right now. And you said you made an interesting comment right now, Jon. I want you to tell us, Jon, you just said that there's a barrier between Kentucky and Indiana. A river.
There is.
And how many times do these barriers, these rivers in our lives, keep us from going to the next level, right? We're driving from Indiana to Kentucky. There's a river there. Well, you got to build a bridge.
Yeah.
What is the biggest just unfortunate mishap that you see as people come and they're starting off in sales, and that they put these mental barriers, these mental rivers from where they are in Indiana to where they want to go to Kentucky, but they don't build that bridge. So in reality, they're killing their own dreams. They're self-sabotaging themselves. What are two or three barriers that you see in that?
Well, I think the biggest barrier is that people don't remain consistent. So when I hire a new person, I like to give them the facts of the business. So you'll read all these job postings, and you'll attend job fairs, and you'll talk to dealers who want to hire people, and they'll promise them the world. They'll tell them, you can come in, you sell your 10 to 15 cars. And if you do that consistently, you'll make a 6-figure income, which is possible. But I like to give people the facts. So the facts are, it's going to be 90 degrees and it's going to be hot, and you're going to stand outside. You need to go talk to that customer. The fact is that customer that you talk to is going to say something to you that's not going to sit well, maybe even offend you, but you need to work around it and get back up and go talk to that other customer. The fact is, it's going to be -2 degrees outside, and somebody's going to pull on your lot. You need to go talk to them. People get lost in the shuffle because they think that 6-figure income, or that promising income, or something that's going to put food on their table, is just going to be handed to them, and it's not. So when I hire somebody, I tell them they need to survive what's called the 90-day plateau. And the 90-day plateau is the first 30 days, you're going to be brand new. You're going to take everything that you've learned. You're going to listen. You're going to apply those principles and techniques and experience a little bit of success. The next 30 days, within the first 60 days, you're going to be still within that plateau. You're going to be on your uphill climb, but you're going to start to take those shortcuts. So you're going to have that one commission that you made that may have paid you $1,000 plus or $2,000 plus, but within that commission, you found a shortcut. So maybe you didn't have to go on the test drive. Maybe you didn't have to ask those closing questions. And that shortcut that led you to a little bit of income starts to flow into your process. So those shortcuts become more prevalent in what you do. 90-day window, thinking that you've got it all figured out, and you're not going to listen to your managers. You're not going to want to take those customers. And that's where we have to overcome. That's the mental barrier. You have to stay consistent to what you did in your first 30 days in order to be successful and sustainable in a career.
So let me ask you this, because you made an interesting comment there, right? You started off in sales. We see you, everybody sees Jon Blakely today, and either GM and out of, several brands, Nissan, Chevy, Buick. Give us two takeaways that the audience can take right now that you did for yourself to be consistent. Because it's one thing that I see is most people, they start off with the bang, right? They get that firecracker in the beginning, and then it fizzles out, and they never build that bridge. That barrier dominates them. And they just either quit, right? Because the way you do something is the way you do everything. So if you quit in automotive sales, if you quit your business, if you quit whatever you're doing, you're going to continue quitting. What did Jon do to overcome those barriers in his own mind, in his life?
I remained, the two things that I do and I practice daily every day is I like to remain positive, and I like to remain humble. So regardless of the success that you have, somebody helped you along the way, you learned something from somebody else, give that credit to those people, remain humble in whatever you experience, and remain positive. There's going to be situations that are outside of our control that we can't handle. There's going to be things within our control that we can handle. And that one thing that we can always control is our reaction. So how do you react to that situation? Remain positive, remain upbeat, look for the best in everything, be an optimist. And that's what's helped me become successful in my career.
Well, I love what you said, right? So, man, we're going deeper and deeper with Jon, man. I'm telling you, you got to write these notes down. That's a boom, baby. What? Okay. I want to go deeper on this, because I always say this every time I do whether it's in corporate America or it's at an automotive dealership or with the account executives as a real estate agency, people just say, well, I'm just going to be more positive this month. And I'm like, okay, well, great.
Yeah.
Like, well, how are you going to do that? Well, I'm just going to be positive. I was like, listen, let me tell you, Mr. Miss John Doe, if you've been negative your whole life, you're not going to wake up all of a sudden one day and guess what? I'm positive. Yeah. One of the biggest lies that people have been told is they can will themselves to thinking positive. It doesn't happen that way, because if you have the conditioning, if you have those thought patterns of negativity, what are two things that you did to change from that mindset of maybe not being negative, but just to really being more positive? What are two action steps that you took in that?
Well, for me to be positive, and the two things that I kind of look for, I can't control how somebody else reacts, but I can control how they react to me. So I look inward to myself constantly and do a lot of self-reflection to, did I handle that situation in the appropriate way? Was there a different outcome? Could we have agreed earlier? Could I have done something differently? I always experience self-reflection. So if I find myself going down a negative path, I have to remind myself of my ultimate goal to put myself back on track.
I love that. I'll tell you, last year, I was having a great year, and then all of a sudden I was expecting to finish off the year like in a boom, right? That was Daniel Gomez Inspire's big finish, and came back from Asia, biggest, international speaking gigs over there. And I almost broke my foot the first week of November.
Wow.
And man, I was bummed out. I think I got depressed a couple of days, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, something that I did that I hadn't really done, because as human beings, so many times we do have some wins, and we are having big wins in our life. We just don't see it.
Yeah.
And when I was there on the couch, I just felt like God told me, like, what are you complaining about? You've had an amazing year so far. Even if your year ended right now, the 7th of November, you won. But I didn't feel that way.
Right.
And it was funny because I got my phone out, right? I got my phone out and I was looking through these pictures. I had this little app called Quick. And I started putting pictures in there from 2020. And I was just like, I was in my feelings for a couple of hours, right? But it was amazing that once I put the pictures in there, put the music to it, the video that was there, everything that I had accomplished, I started feeling better. I was like, I did a lot, but I really had to reflect and take the time. Do you think that sometimes people were so much like in a hurry on that. Let's go get the next one. Let's get this one. Let's go. Like we don't get a chance to really take a moment in life in general just to reflect and look like I did all that. Like, look at you, man, dude. Like you got not just a Chevrolet point, you got a GMC point, you got a Nissan point. Like, there's a point where I think you're right. You have to sit back, drink a cup of coffee, and just say, okay, wow, look at where I'm at.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, we have here inside the store what we call the 2-minute drill. So after a little bit of success or failure, we like to sit down and talk about it. But I agree with you. We sometimes we do need to take that step back and actually look at the success that we had and kind of appreciate it, because we're hungry. We always want to accomplish a little bit more, and going down that negative path, like you said, sometimes if we're not on that same course, or there is a minor setback, we can really start to go down that wrong path. But look back, look at everything you've accomplished, and kind of appreciate it, and understand that there always has to be a little bit of a correction, right? If you compare it to the market, they talk about, man, we're on so much of a bull run, it's going to crash, it's going to crash, it's going to crash. Well, even if it does crash, we just need to reset. Let's take a look at where we started to where we're at, and evaluate. And failure isn't necessarily a failure. Failure is
I got to give you a round of applause for that. That's a good one right there. Reset. Yeah. Reset, right? They need to write that down. Sometimes we just have to reset our day, don't we?
Right. That's all we need, just a minor reset, and then get right back after it.
Man, I love what you said. And the second thing you said, I don't want to ignore this, because humble, right? Stay humility. So I had an interesting conversation with one of my clients yesterday, and I want to get your perspective, because I think so many times, especially in the automotive industry, I see a lot of young aspiring men and women that want to come up. They want to be successful. They want to be that sales professional. And then next thing you know, they have a big month. We'll just say like in San Antonio, I'm just using my state as a reference point. The average household income in San Antonio is like 35,000, maybe 40 right now.
Yeah.
So that's household, right? That's household income. So you got somebody that comes in and boom, they have a big month. They sell 15, 16 cars, make $5,000. They've never made that in their life.
Right.
For the last year, they made 22,000. Now they made that in 1 month.
Right.
And then they stop. They say, well, mentally, they say, well, God, I can live off of this for the next 3 months, right? And that's what they're telling themselves. It breaks my heart, because there's so much hidden potential inside of them. Right. But then there's a part of, going back to what I was saying, is some people feel that if they have this level of success that it's not humble, right? No, I can't make that much money, because then I won't be humble. And they believe that mindset frame in them about money. Do you ever experience that at your store? Because I think sometimes being humble, and I get what you're saying, right? You're using a different perspective, but since you brought that up, I want to ask that. Do you ever see like people say, well, no, like they sabotage themselves because they have the wrong approach or association with money, that they think if they do succeed in the automotive industry, they're not humble?
Yeah. We see a little bit of that. People put limitations on themselves because they don't, there's a little bit of fear of the unknown. But then I could kind of see how they are afraid of what they might be able to accomplish if they were to accomplish a little bit more. So they become timid in that sense. And yeah, I would say that we see a little bit of that here at our stores and here within the industry. Humility is big. I was always taught and raised playing football growing up, that even if you score a touchdown, have a little bit of a celebration, but then you need to get back on the line and start up and do it all over again. But there doesn't need to be the big parade or the big celebration, but let's remain humble and help others accomplish the same thing that we're accomplishing right now.
I love that, man. So let's shift a little bit here, John. When was there a time, whether in life or business, that Jon Blakely lost his confidence? And what did you learn in that season when you lost your confidence? And how did you regain it?
Man, a time that I've lost my confidence. There's been several times that I've lost my confidence, and it's, am I doing the right thing? Is this really what I want to do? and it usually comes after a defeat. It makes you start second questioning things and what the direction is and the path that you're leading on, or the path that you're leading right now. There was a time in probably halfway through my career, I became a GSM of a Ford store, sales manager of a Ford store at 23, which at my age was kind of unheard of for the location, and had some success coming off. Came out of the gate really strong, and then it felt like I was just doing the normal routine, just going to work, going home, going to sleep, waking back up, going to work, going home, going to sleep, waking back up and doing the same thing. And I felt defeat in the sense of, and lost my confidence. And man, I don't want to be stuck in the same rut. I want to go accomplish something else. I want to accomplish more. And I just had to, it was like I said earlier, it's just the self-reflection. I had to really self-reflect and think about, okay, I've got a successful career and a successful job, but is this what I want to do every day? And I felt like in that defeat, I felt like I wasn't helping enough people, and I wasn't impacting enough around me. So I made the conscious decision to do more than what was asked of me to do, and developed groups outside of the store, developed groups in the community, and really got back involved in volunteering and helping those around me. And that really showed me that what I was doing was the right move, and I wasn't stuck in that rut, and there was other opportunities and things out there for me to do.
So you didn't accept the lie. So many times I think we in our own thinking, there's that thought pattern that, right, it seems to be reality, but it's not. It's a lie. It's the old way of really what society's told us, or that, no, you can do more.
Yeah.
And what I heard you say there, and ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear this, because Jon went to work, was working, grew into the GSM position. What I heard him say right now is he wasn't feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
He said he knew there was more to what he could do. And granted, being a GSM at a dealership, man, that ain't no easy task, because you have employees under you, you got new cars, you got just used cars, there's work involved in that. But he still said, can I give more? He asked himself, and I want to give more. And he went out into his community.
Yeah.
Right now, maybe you're feeling unfulfilled in life. Yeah, you listening to this, you watching right here on YouTube or listening on iHeart, you feel unfulfilled in life because maybe you have that potential inside of you and you're not using it. It's time to release that hidden potential in you and live to your full potential and really go out there and serve people at a different level. And I can imagine you were probably tired, Jon, right? I mean, it wasn't easy at first, but it's amazing how when this opportunity is presented to us, or you challenge yourself in that capacity, how you grow into that person. Is that not how it happens?
Yeah, it is, and it's funny the way that it does, stepping outside of your comfort zone a little bit to explore more and giving back. That's always what's kind of fueled me throughout life. I've volunteered and helped others from a very young age, and that's always what seemed to pull me out of the darkness of negativity per se. So yeah, self-reflection is huge, and self-reflection is key. So like we said earlier, a lot of the times you just need to do that reset and think about where you're at and where you want to be, and is that void stopping you from accomplishing your full potential?
So what did you learn about yourself as you came out of this time?
That this is truly something that I wanted to do. That I realized how many people I was helping in the automotive industry, and how many lives I impacted, whether it was from selling a new car, selling a used car, helping somebody service theirs, what the medium or form of transportation meant for people in society. So I took that and kind of developed that a little bit more, got more involved, like I said, outside of the store. And every time, and many people in the automotive industry can say this, anytime I went out anywhere, whether it be at the gym, whether it's at a restaurant, whether it's at a family function, we talk about cars, we talk about transportation. So I realized that people need transportation to put food on their tables. So I shifted my focus really from kind of self-developing career to helping others transform and impact their lives.
Awesome, brother. That's awesome. What was one of the, going back right now, because I'm still thinking, I'm still seeing the river. I'm still seeing the river as we were coming back on the bus ride that day in Kentucky. I'm seeing the river. What is the biggest barrier that you had to overcome, John, to become the person that you are today? If there was one huge barrier, that barrier that was there, that raging river, what is that raging river barrier that you had to overcome in your own thinking, in your own mind, to arrive to this point right now, today, where you're leading hundreds of employees and impacting community and just being who you are? Amazing.
So for me personally, I grew up in a family. I've got 8 brothers and sisters. And I was always the one that was looked upon to kind of lead the family. So I looked at my mom, separated from my dad. So I spent time split at my mom's house, spent time split at my dad's house. So I had to be that bridge to connect the two in their relationship. But then, leading my 8 brothers and sisters, I had to be the one to step up. And when we needed food on the table, my dad worked for the Ford plant for the manufacturer. I had to go outside and cut grass and rake leaves and shovel snow and everything else. So the barrier for me growing up was I didn't want to let everybody else down. I wanted to be the one that people could lean on for support mentally, for support professionally. I wanted to be the shoulder that they could rely on. So as I've grown, I've always kind of taken that in and reflected on that myself, to be that person that somebody could look to and be that example. My brother has a physical fitness company, and he's a personal trainer, and his slogan is be the example. And we've got T-shirts and logos, and if you look to my Facebook page, that's the profile picture on mine, is be the example. I want to be that example for everybody else around me, so they have something to look at. Because one thing that I found, and still is true to this day, is people are a creature of their environment and the things that they see. So sometimes all it takes for somebody else to be successful is for them to see it in real life, so they don't get stuck in that same rut that maybe their parents raised them in, or that same environment that they were cultivated in and grown in. If you show them that different perspective, then that could change their life dramatically. So
That's a boom, baby, right there. I love that, right? So many of us, we want to change our lives. We want to change what we're doing. Listen to what John's saying right now. If you a simple takeaway from this episode. If you want to change your life, what environment are you in? Change your environment.
Right.
Change your environment. Maybe, guess what? Stop complaining about your job, and maybe it's go find a different career, or find a different position in the same thing, right? If maybe it's a dealership, or the real estate office you work at, the broker, maybe it's toxic. Well, guess what? Well, leave it and go find one where you're going to prosper. Go find one where there's a Jon Blakely that really helps his team grow and reflect and brings in just that different perspective. And man, I love what you're saying, because so many times we want to do amazing things, John, but we don't do anything about our environment.
Right.
And it's like me and you, right? We went to this conference, and people go to conferences or they go to these meetings, and then it's great people, great content. You're pumped up, you're excited, you're there, like, I'm going to change the world. And then you get home, and maybe your environment is the same way.
Yeah.
Because you go back to your old environment.
Right.
You see that sometimes in your guys and your team?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, and that's one of the things we look at when going to conferences too, because you go there, you're surrounded with a great group of people, and everybody's got similar ideas, and we're talking the same message. But then you're exactly right. You go back into your store, or you go back into your office, you go back into wherever you're at, and you don't apply any of those principles, and it makes no sense. So just like you said, and like I was saying, you need to change your environment, and most times it starts with you. You need to be the one to do something different than what everybody else is usually doing. And that difference, being that difference or being that example, is the hardest step, but it's the first step that everybody needs to take. So changing your environment is huge. Surrounding yourself with the people that you want to be or want to become, that's huge if you want to do something different for yourself.
So let me ask you this, because I love what we're talking about, because I think once this airs, man, it's going to drop some value bombs. What did you have to do to change your environment? That wasn't easy.
I had to, I've got a 18-year-old sister who just left the house and is in college at Bowling Green State University. And I have this conversation with her. I've had it with her over the course of the year, this past year, and have it with her probably once a week. But the biggest thing for me was to leave my hometown, get out of the environment, get out of the atmosphere, get away from the people that I know, and be around others and go explore. That was the biggest barrier for me. That was the biggest thing and the hardest thing that I had to change, because like I said, I've got 8 brothers and sisters, and I got a very close knit and large family. So for me to step out of that environment was really tough, but I knew that if I wanted to provide for them and provide for myself, that I needed to get away from them in order to see success in my own career and personally, and then help them as well.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, because I think so many times my first daughter, I remember she went to school here in San Antonio at UTSA, and her first year she lived on campus, or maybe she just made a semester. I can't remember, but she ended up coming home because it was the local university, which was, it's cool, right? She still did great.
Yeah.
But my son's like, Dad, I said, hey, why don't you just go to UTSA like your sister? She goes, no, Dad, I got a scholarship to Texas State, a small one, right? I said, yeah. I go, but you got a big scholarship to UTSA. And, he challenged me. He goes, Dad, you're the one that told me to follow my dreams. You're the one that talks about dreaming big. What could I argue with that? He sees me on these podcasts. He hears me coaching my clients. And he's like, dude, you're the one. He checked me.
Yeah.
And man, it broke my heart, because that's my little king. And,
Yeah.
but I can tell you exactly to what the point of what you're saying right now, Jon, is he got out of the environment of me and my wife, and he got to explore life. And I'll tell you that I'm so proud of him, because I see him now, and he's just this amazing young leader.
Yeah.
That, like, he's resilient, right? He doesn't even see it. He's resilient. And I say that because he's out there, has his own apartment now. I think maybe the first 18 months I gave him, like, of course I paid for his school, but I would send him $500 here, man. Just do good. And then I go, you okay? He goes, yeah. This was about a year ago. I go, do you need anything? He goes, no, I'm good. You haven't asked me for money. He goes, I don't need it, Dad. I'm good. I'm like, wow, right? Like, but he would have never grown into that young man if he would have stayed in this environment, because we're so used to, right? We kind of, I don't want to say I was a helicopter dad, but you want the best for your kids, but sometimes they need to grow into that, because they appreciate the worth of what they have. They appreciate the value of the monetary of the new car, or just buying those Oakley sunglasses or whatever it may be. And I think you're exactly right. So, man, I'm loving our conversation. I'll tell you what, I should have brought you on a long time ago, brother. So let's shift here. I want to talk about Jon a little bit more. Yeah. What makes Jon Blakely distinctive? What makes you unique, right? Because we all have a God-given gift.
Right.
What makes you unique? What makes you distinctive?
Well, I mean, kind of.
Don't be humble here. I want you to be you, right?
Well, kind of as you mentioned earlier, we attended that conference, and you kind of saw him very low key. So I like to be the one who always kind of remains humble. I don't like to brag at all, and I don't really enjoy talking about myself. But one thing about me is I like to be the one who's, and I said it before too, kind of still on the front lines with everybody, helping them out. So the one thing that's unique about me that I found is different from other people, specifically in the automotive business, is that thirst and that hunger to always want more. It's not even a thirst and a hunger to always want more. I feel like people in the car business, once they get to a certain position, they feel like they've made it, and that makes them better than other people. And I've never really understood that, because I feel like once you get that promotion into a leadership position, you have to then develop and train other leaders. So that doesn't mean that you get to sit back behind a keyboard and command and bark orders to somebody else. You need to roll up your sleeves and get on the front line and go train them on how to do it the way that you would want to do, and maybe get their perspective on the new way of doing it. As we've all kind of learned, especially through COVID, that there is a different way to accomplish the same goal. So the difference and the distinction about me is I like to listen more than I like to talk. So I like to hear what everybody else has to say, but then when it's game time, I like to go apply those principles and apply those techniques and really lead my market and lead the industry to different ways of doing things.
Man, I love that. That's some gold right there. Don't be a leader that leads from the mountaintop. Be a leader that comes down the mountain. Exactly. And you're right there in the trenches with your team.
Exactly.
I agree with you that so many times we get I call it level 1 of leadership, right? Yeah. We get stuck in entitlement. Don't you see my title right here? It says DG. Don't you see my title here? It says Jon Blakely. It says GM. And so many leaders never get past level one because of
Right.
that block in their own thinking, because they think they're entitled now. And if you just come on the mountaintop, think about Jesus, right? Jesus could have sat on the mountaintop, but he came down because he wanted to help us.
Yeah.
And it's just a great representation of leadership, what you're talking about, man. Because I think, and the thing is, you live it. You're not just saying it, because so many people talk, whether it's servant leadership or this form of leadership. But when I go into these organizations and I'm observing them from afar, I'm like, you might think they don't know,
Yeah.
but they know, right? You think they don't know, but they see everything. We
Right.
sometimes just leadership or VPs or whatever position you're in an organization, they think, oh, nobody knows. It's like, I'll tell you what. One thing I've learned just doing my executive coaching and my business coaching is that we all deal with insecurities. It doesn't matter what level you're in, right? We all have insecurities. We all have issues. We're human.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're saying is when you associate with your team in a deeper level, when you go down and you really serve from that leadership position, they'll respect you more and honor you more, because
so much better.
Yes. Boom, baby. Say that again. Say that again. Come on. I know you're not.
They respond so much better. If you're,
I'm gonna give you a horn on that one. Woo! Jon Blakely dropping some wisdom here, baby. Woo!
Your results are 10 times. And, one of the things that I discussed before too was, instead of investing all this money into advertising and different ways we could do things, let's just invest in our people. And a lot of the times what we get confused in this industry is we hear the word investment and we think that it always correlates to money. Well, investment could be just a simple conversation, asking somebody how they're doing, how their day is, what's going on in their personal life, how could we help, and just being that shoulder for them to talk to and lean on, because not everybody has that. So it's a huge step to build a relationship, because, it's true, we spend more time here than we do at home. So we need to build those relationships with the people that are around us. And, those are always kind of taken for granted. So more times than not. And it's so clutch if you're trying to build a business. You can't just sit back and command from the mountaintop. Like you said, we have to be involved.
Yes. Yeah, man. Well, I'll tell you, I'm loving this conversation. I want you to do me a favor, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
There's some people out there that are listening to this or watching it. Look into your camera and talk into that mic, and they're thinking about giving up. Maybe they've had a bad month in the automotive industry. Maybe they had a bad month in furniture sales. Maybe they just had a bad month in life, and they're like second guessing themselves. Take a minute and speak a word of life over them, if you don't mind, my brother Jon.
And, if I could tell you one thing, it's just don't give up. As simple and as plain as that may be, tomorrow's a brand new day. It's 11:36 in the morning right now, Eastern time. 11:37 is a new minute. The next person you talk to is a new opportunity. The conversation that you could have with somebody else could really change your life. So don't give up on yourself. You've got the courage. You've got the skill set. You can empower yourself to move mountains and really make an impact around the people or with the people around you. So, if you're feeling like you want to give up, if you're feeling like you've had enough, if you're feeling like you can't accomplish it, let me be the person to tell you that you can. I have confidence in you. I can help you. I can help build you up. And my phone number is listed everywhere. Just give me a call, shoot me a text. It's my personal cell phone number. But you can do it. It's out there and it's possible. And it's within your grasp and within your reach. So don't give up. Keep climbing. Keep grinding. If anything, if you've given it a fair shot and you've given it all you can, just go back to the basics. Work towards you. Work on you. And you will become successful.
Boom, baby. Empower yourself to move mountains. Jon Blakely, ladies and gentlemen, empower yourself to move mountains. We have that power in us, do we not?
We do. Yes, we do.
I love what you said, man. So I want to ask you this, as we're coming towards the end of our episode here, Jon, you've dropped some major wisdom. And what's a scripture or what's a quote that you lean on those days of adversity when they want to sneak in and just kind of like, kind of put that negativity in? What's a scripture or a quote that you've used throughout your career, or just something that you lean on?
Man, the scripture that has always empowered me is I can do all things with him who gives me strength. And if there's ever a time that I need a confidence boost, or if there's a time where I find myself going down that dark path, I truly do turn to God and take a second into prayer and think about, God wouldn't put me in a situation that I couldn't get through. God wouldn't put me in a situation that I couldn't handle. And I just really need to turn to his strength in order to get through that situation. There's so many things that he sacrificed for me and Jesus sacrificed for us that I can't give up and I can't stop just because I want to feel sorry for myself. So that is the main scripture that I always turn to every time.
Boom, baby. I love it. Jon Blakely, ladies and gentlemen. So tell us, where are you at? If someone maybe needs a shot, whether it's as a sales professional, BDC, I mean, you're the GM of all these points. If someone needs a hope there in Indiana, so I'm assuming if you're close by Indiana, or even if you're across the country, right, and you want to go work for an amazing leader, you heard this guy, like, they really exist. Yeah, Jon Blakely, he's a real deal. How can somebody get a hold of you, my brother?
I'm on Facebook. You can look me up, Jon Blakely. I think the Facebook is Jon Blakely 3, or my cell phone. It's listed on there. My email address. I've got a Twitter account at J Blakely. Instagram is J Blakely. That's JBLAKELY. My cell phone number is listed on LinkedIn. I'm there as well. Just Google me and I'll pop up and just shoot me a text or send me an email and reach out. And I'd be glad to have a conversation, whether it's personally or professionally, to help anybody.
Boom, man. I'll tell you what, I've loved this. And we'll also have your information in the show notes, Jon. And thank you so much for being a guest, man, and just dropping some massive wisdom. So it was an honor. And he has if you're listening to this on iTunes, he has a big smile and he's making me smile too right now. Woo! Thank you again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for this week's episode. If you're stuck in life, if you're stuck in business and you need help, I'll tell you what, go to www.danielgomezglobal.com. That's danielgomezglobal.com. And do a message there. With our Show to Fate coaching, we can help your life. We can help your business. We've helped hundreds of people, hundreds of organizations. One that was losing $1 million. And guess what? Within 18 months, they were making $1 million in the black. So we want to help your organization. That's Show to Fate coaching at danielgomezglobal.com. Until next week, that's a wrap. We'll see you here on the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. This is Daniel Gomez, and thank you so much for tuning into our show today. We'd love your feedback. Please drop us a comment, and thank you for leaving us a review. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and share this episode with a friend. And my free gift for listening to our show today is a copy of my best-selling book, You Were Born to Fly. To get your free copy, go to danielgomezinspires.com and get your copy today. That's danielgomezinspires.com. And to elevate your life and business even more, follow me on social media at Daniel Gomez Inspires on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence.